Morning, children. Welcome to our social session. In the last session, I taught you lesson number 4 in history, that is the Vedic civilization. Vedic civilization first part, I explained the Vedic literature and different Vedas, Rig Veda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, Samaveda Samhita, Atharva Veda Samhita. Along with that, I explained you Brahmana text, Aranyakas, Upanishads. Yes, and after that, family system and day-to-day life of the Vedic period was explained. Okay, that was the first part. In the second part, we shall learn about agriculture, animal husbandry, economic and social life of Vedic people. Let us begin. Agriculture was the main occupation during the Vedic period. Many oxen were yoked together to plough the fields. The plough had iron plowshares. The Atharva Veda considers insects, pests, and other animals that destroy crops and suggest certain remedies. Cow dung was used as manure. During Vedic period, agriculture was the main occupation. People in Vedic period were mostly dependent on agriculture. And for ploughing their field, they used oxen. And the plough was made of iron. Okay, they had iron plowshares. In Atharva Veda, I taught you children that Atharva Veda had remedies to all the day-to-day problems of life. And even there were remedies for different diseases. Okay, it solved our day-to-day problem. So here, farmers also had to face different problems like the pest. Okay, the crops were destroyed due to insects and pest. So Atharva Veda suggests certain remedies for the pest. Okay, to destroy the insects and pest. Cow dung was used as manure, and cow dung was considered as holy. Okay, it was considered, means cow dung cakes. Now even in villages and all, if you go, you must have seen that cow dung cake is used for as a fuel. Okay, now next, during the Vedic period, animals like horses, cows and dogs had special importance. Cows were used as means of exchange. That is why cows were highly prized. People took special care to ensure that their cows would not be stolen. The horse was valued because of his speed. The Vedic people were skilled in taming the horses and harnessing them to the chariots. Chariots in the Vedic period had spoked wheels, which are lighter than solid wheels. The horse drawn and spoked wheel chariots of the Vedic period were swift and speedy. During Vedic period, Animals like horses, cows, and dogs, they were of special importance. In each and every household, they had a cow shed, okay, and even they had dogs and horses, okay, they domesticated animals. And cows was important because it was used as a means of exchange. It Cows were highly prized, okay, and it was also considered as holy. Yeah, cows are considered holy in among Hindu community. Hindus considered cow as a god, and people took special care of cows, that the cows should not get stolen. Okay, it would not be stolen. And along with cows, horses were also valued because because of its speed. Yeah, horses could run with great speed, you know that. And Vedic people, they used to tame horse, means horses and all were used for riding, going to far off places, and they were harnessed horses and harnessed them to the chariots. Okay, you could see this picture on the screen. There is a chariot, a man. Okay, so you can see the horses there. Yeah, it has been harnessed to the tied to the chariot. Okay, so chariots in the Vedic period had spoked wheels. See the wheels, children? This kind of wheels are called as spoked wheels. These wheels are lighter as compared to the solid wheels. And horse drawn and spoked wheel chariot of the Vedic period was swift and speedy. So these wheels, which is drawn by the horse, spoked wheels, was swift and speedy. It could move rather faster. In Mahabharata, Ramayana serial and all, you must have seen, no? Yeah, in the battlefield and all, or wherever they are riding, you must have seen the people, yeah, riding on the horseback or horse chariots. In this period, apart from agriculture and animal husbandry, several other occupations had also flourished. I told you, farming was an important occupation, but along with farming or agriculture, there were other people, yeah, who were engaged in different occupations like artisans, for example, goldsmith, potterer, yeah, they were known as artisans. They were also an important part of the social system. They formed independent organizations known as shrenis or guild. They have their own organization or group, and their organization was known as shrenis or guild. The head of the guild was known as Shreshti. However, slowly the status of skilled artisans became secondary. Okay, earlier during Vedic period, artisans were given more importance, but later on their status became secondary. During this period, there were four varnas. Now see, you will learn how the caste system evolved during Vedic period. There were four varnas. They were Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Brahmin means a person who performed yajna, or who does all the priestly work. Okay, he was known as Brahmin. Next was Kshatriya. Kshatriya people used to protect his subject like king. They were the warriors. They used to protect the subject. Third, Vaishya. Vaishya, they belong to the third category like businessmen, merchants, traders. They were Vaishya. And fourth, Shudra. They used to do all the cleaning work, and Shudra was considered as the low caste. Okay, so four Varnas: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And a Varna was determined by the occupations of the people. What occupation the people were engaged in decided their Varna. In the later period, Varna came to be determined on the basis of birth. Suppose a child is born in a Brahmin family, he was considered as a high caste. Yeah, because he is born to a Brahmin. Okay, so Brahmin was considered, means Varna was determined on the basis of birth. And this gave rise to caste. The caste system led to inequality in the society. Now you know, children, all men are born equal. Yeah, there is equality. God has created all human beings equal. But here we people have distinguished the people on the basis of their caste. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. The Varna system led to caste distinguish. Okay, and this brought about inequality in the society. During the Vedic period, certain notions about leading an ideal life had become well established. There were 4 stages of 4 ashramas from birth to death. The first ashrama was the Brahmacharya ashrama, or the period of staying with the Guru to learn from him. Like children, you're small. At your age, now you're at which stage? Brahmacharya. Okay, so at this age of y'all, earlier, when you attain this certain age, okay, the children were at that age, yeah, children were sent to the forest along with their guru, okay, to stay with him and learn. I explained in the last session in Upanishads that acquiring education, yeah, acquiring knowledge by sitting at the feet of the teacher. Yeah, in Gurukul, there was a system like children used to go and stay with their teacher in the forest, and their teacher used to teach them the different day-to-day lessons, okay, and even about nature, about how to solve their day-to-day problem, yeah, life, death, everything, all was taught to them by their teacher. Guru was considered as God, yeah, superior to God. Okay, so Brahmacharya ashrama, this is the first ashrama stage where the child was supposed to go and stay with their guru and learn from him. The next stage after the successful completion of Brahmacharya ashrama was Grihastha ashrama. Once they took education from their guru, they used to come back to their house, yeah, to their parents, and here the it was expected that during this period a man would carry out his duties towards his family and society with the help of his wife. During Grihastha Ashrama, man was supposed to get married and he and his wife had to carry out duties towards his family and society. Then the third stage was Vanaprathastha Ashrama, when a man was expected to detach himself from the household, retire to a solitary place, and lead a very simple life. Like suppose now you must have seen at home also you have your grandparents, no? Yeah, after serving for so many years working, okay, in offices and all, and then at certain age they retire and they live a simple life, okay, a retired life. Yeah, that is the Vanaprathastha Ashrama. Then the fourth stage was Sannyasa Ashrama. At this stage, the convention was to renounce all relations, lead life in order to understand the meaning of human life and not stay in one place. Here, same like sannyasis and all, no, you have to renounce everything, leave everything, all the household attachment, relations, yeah, leave children, all the near and dear ones, and lead a simple life, okay, and they have to wander, not to stay in one place, okay. So we have finished with all the four ashramas: Brahmacharya Ashrama, Grihastha Ashrama, Vanaprathastha Ashrama, and the last is Sannyasa Ashrama. Now the next topic is religious ideas. Now let us know about the religious ideas of the Vedic period, whom the Vedic people used to worship. Let us learn more about it. In the religious ideas of the Vedic period, forces of nature such as the sun, wind, rain, lightning, storms, and rivers were given the form of deities. Vedic compositions pray them to become life giving forces. The Vedic people put offerings into the yajna, fire, to please them. These offerings were called havi. Yajna is the act of offering havi into fire. Initially, the yajna rites were simple. Later on, the rules of yajna became harder and harder. The importance of priest went on increasing. During Vedic period, children, Vedic people worshipped forces of nature like sun, wind, rain, lightning, storms, rivers. They considered them as the deities, God. Okay? And suppose sudden lightning, storm, so they used to worship them. They used to perform yajna. Okay, if there is no rain, so they used to perform yajna, havan, for rain to come. Okay, so there were different forces of nature which the Vedic people worshipped. Yes, and the Vedic people put offerings into the yajna. See this picture, children. You can see a sage sitting in front of the yajna and putting the offering, that is havi, yeah, in the yajna. Okay, this Even we have come across, we have seen this in our day to day life, like whenever we have puja or havan, okay, that time, even in our culture, we put the offerings, yeah, pure ghee and all is offered in the fire, okay. That offerings or havi, it is known as yagna, is the act of offering havi into fire, pure ghee and all, whatever we used to, they used to put in the fire. The that thinking was, whatever you offer in the fire, it will go to the god, that offering, it will reach the god. That was the thinking of those people. Yeah, initially, earlier, the yagna rites were simple, but later on the rules became harder and harder. It was difficult for the common people or poor people to perform the yagna. Okay? Because for each and every yagna they had to call the priest. Without priest, here it was not possible to perform the yagna. Even we call the priest no at home whenever we have to perform puja or yagna, same way. So the importance of priest went on increasing. This, the ordinary people or poor people were finding it difficult, okay, to perform yagna. People in the Vedic period had thought about how the natural phenomena occur. Summer is followed by the rainy season, and the rainy season by winter. This is a regular cycle in nature. The cycle in nature and the life cycle that moved with it were termed by the Vedic people as Rita. The life of all living beings is a part of the cycle in nature. Disturbance in the cycle of nature leads to calamities. Everyone should be careful not to let it happen. Nobody should break the laws of nature. It was believed that following these rules was to follow dharma. Vedic people, they believe in the nature's phenomena, that everything, that natural phenomena, how this natural phenomena occur. They believe that there is a certain cycle, okay? Cycle of seasons. You have learned about different seasons, no? Summer season, rainy season, winter season. Okay? You have learned this. For summer, after summer, rainy season follows and then winter season follows. So there is a particular pattern of nature. So Vedic people also believed in the same cycle in nature. They felt that there is a regular pattern, okay, in the cycle in nature. The cycle in nature and life cycle that moved it, they termed it as Rita. Okay, summer season, winter season, summer season, rainy season, winter season. Yeah, this cycle of nature, Vedic people termed it as Rita. And the life of all living beings, according to them, is a part of this cycle in nature. And if you disturb this cycle of nature, it leads to calamity. Like suppose if you go on cutting down the trees or killing animals and all, it disturbs the nature. Okay, so then we have to face the different natural calamities, then global warming, flood, okay, earthquake, natural calamities we have to face. That is why it is our duty that not to disturb the cycle of nature. Okay, we should save our environment. We must always save our nature. Everyone should be careful not to let it happen. Yeah, you should not disturb the nature, and you should not break the laws of nature. And this was considered as a dharma. Vedic people believed that nobody has the right to break the rules of nature, and it is a dharma, okay, to follow the rules. You understood this, children? Yes, the religious ideas. Now next is the last topic which I will explain you in the second part is political system. Now till now I have explained you about agriculture, animal husbandry, economic and social life and religious ideas of Vedic period. Now let us learn about the political system. In the Vedic period, each village had a head known as Gramani. A group of villages formed a Vish, whose head was called Vishapati. Okay, Vedic period, each village means it is also known as Gram, and the head of village was called as Gramani, and group of villages together formed a Vish. It was called as Vish, and the head of Vish was called Vishapati. And several group of villages together, they formed Jana. Okay, and when the Jana settled into a specific region, it came to be known as Janapad. What it came to be known as? Janapad. The head of the Jana was known as Anripa or Raja. Head of Jana was called as Nripa, means the king or Raja. And main duties of the king was to protect his subjects, to protect his people, and collect taxes, and the last is run the administration efficiently. I repeat, main duties of the king were to protect his subjects, collect taxes, and run the administration efficiently. Now, in order to run the administration smoothly, king appointed various officers. The Purohit means priest, and the Senapati of the army. They were officers of special importance. Purohit used to perform all the priestly work, yeah, puja and all, whatever priestly work, he was the priest, yeah, Kul Guru and all, Raj Guru, they were called as. And Senapati means in charge of army. They were the different officers, yeah, important officers at the king's court. The officer who collected taxes, yes, for running the administration, king used to collect taxes. So the officer who collects taxes was known as Bhagdo. Okay, Bhag means share. Yeah, the person who collected king's share of the produce of Jana was called Bhagdo. Jana means people or villages together, I told you just now. Yeah, whoever whatever produce, food grains and all they have produced. So Bhagdo, he used to come, a person who collected king's share, he used to come and collect the king's share from the produce. He was called as, this officer was called as Bhagdo. There were 4 institutions who guided the king: Sabha, Samiti, Vidat and Jana. These 4 institutions' main duties were they used to guide the king. The people of the state participated in their working. Along with them, the people of the kingdom of the state, they also participated in the working of the state. Women too participated in the working of Sabha and Vidat. The Sabha consisted of senior citizens of the state, whereas the Samiti was a general body of people. Sabha means senior citizen, who were experienced people. They gave suggestions to the king regarding certain matters. Okay, Sabha, they were, I repeat, they were called as, they were senior citizens, where Samiti were general body of the people. Later on in the Vedic thought, Smriti and Puranas were composed. After a period of time, the religious stream based on the Vedas, Smritis, Puranas and local traditions came to be known as Hinduism. So all this Vedic literature which we have learned, then Vedas, Smritis, Puranas, epic Ramayana, Mahabharata, yes, all these local traditions, it came to be known as Hinduism. Along with Vedic stream, there were other religious trends which took a different position from the Vedic one regarding Yajna rites and the Varna system. We will learn more about them in the next chapter. Along with Hindu religion, Hinduism, there were other religions who also new religious trends. They also were of great importance that we will learn in our next lesson. Okay, so with this we have finished with our second part of Vedic civilization. Thank you, children.